Hi, I'm Patrick, and I'm with Thomas and Stefan, and we are here presenting our video 2 assignment. So throughout the recent years, the development of neurotechnology has become really massive, and now the world's top and wealthiest investors are investing their multi-millions into this industry. So there definitely should be some type of call to action to talk about the procedures and ethics behind it. Because at this point of time, there's already an extraordinary level of information that's already being obtained from people. And while this technology is good, it could also be bad because it could exacerbate social inequalities and offer corporations, the government, and hackers to exploit us and manipulate us. So the first principle is privacy and consent. Every citizen should have the right to keep the neural data private. The ability to opt out of sharing should be the default choice and assiduously protected. Individuals will need to explicitly opt in to share the neural data from any device. This would involve a safe and secure process, including a consent procedure that explains who is using it, for what purpose, and for how long. People readily give up their data as is, so this should definitely be taken into consideration. However, there still remains a problem because even the people that opted out of sharing their data, there could still be conclusions drawn about them based on similar demographics. So there definitely should be some strict regulations. Maybe like an act similar to the U.S. National Organ Act that prohibited the sale of human organs. And another solution is to restrict the central processing of this data. And ways we could do this is through smart contracts and open data formats. Smart contracts can give transparent control of how the data is used, and open data formats allow for greater transparency about what is private and what gets transmitted. Thomas?
Hi, so I'm here to talk about agency and identity, and one of the main experiments that this article talked about was in 2016 when a man who was dealing with depression, he went through deep brain stimulation where they basically put electrodes into his brain, and after the procedure he felt an altered sense of identity and agency where he didn't feel like himself. And I think with technology rapidly increasing, a lot of people need to know about the effects of this technology before they agree to such experiments, because these can be life-changing things for these people. And when you go to surgery, you're supposed to sign a consent form that you know the dangers of the surgery. But experiments like this, they don't require that. And the article brings to light that problem. And it's something that's serious where you might be a different person after the experiment. And when you see sci-fi movies where like these altered genetically modified humans who are used for the military and other things where they're faster, smarter, stronger, you have to really think that with technology advancing the way it is today, that that's a possibility, and we have to educate the public about things like this. And the first step is to have consent forms before taking part in experiments like this, and it's important that we all be well informed about decisions like this as well. Stefan?
Now I'm going to talk about augmentation. Ethical guidelines are also necessary when it comes to implementing augmentation and how to use this technology. Researchers are concerned that these technologies would cause societal norms to differ and to be even more prejudiced than the norms that we have today. Given prior experiences with the other technologies being introduced, it's an actual legitimate concern. Hence the need for these guidelines to be implemented and actually thought through. Should these be controlled and regulated? Most developers these days who work on these technologies are motivated by having their technology help other people, help people with some sort of mental disability that causes a physical disability, some sort of brain misfunction or something of that nature that would need newer technologies to help a person live their everyday life like a normal person. Should these technologies be regulated by the government as with a steroid drug considered today when it comes to performance enhancing? That's what these neurotechnologies promise to provide. Should athletes or normal people be allowed to use these technologies without the medical need for it? While the use of this technology by normal people to improve their daily lives might not be considered dangerous, that's very hard to control once they have that technology in their own hand. Given prior experiences, people will do almost anything to get the most out of anything. Now, as far as the use for this in the military and by the armed forces, you have to think about it. Most technologies that we have today were first developed by the military, then introduced to the public. now we turn the table, and it's developed by the public, and then the military gets to use it. Researchers are also concerned that they want to make a worldwide guideline, which is going to be very hard to comply, because there's always going to be a very, very poor country and then a very, very rich country. And would the rich country give the same power and ability to a poor country, and vice versa? That's going to be a very difficult point to argue and to come to equal understanding. Now, as far as introducing and being biased in this technology, biased is not in the technology. Bias is in the human that develops this technology and programs it. So that is a very easy issue to overcome. You just have to control who programs it, and that's it. Because other than that, you cannot control bias. Technology can be biased. And given our prior experiences integrating this technology into society, we have very good and clear goals and possible effects of this technology. So it will be much easier for us to set guidelines that we can actually adhere to.